everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Seraphic Deliverance episode 12. I'm Mother Mary, and I'll be starting with a quick little notice. I started working on court cases, and this is number 2 I'm presenting, but it's definitely not the second person I'm addressing. I've actually addressed quite a few. The Lord spoke through somebody last week saying that I already saved a few souls. I have no idea who they are, so I have no idea what I'm doing here. Obviously, I do know, but I don't know beyond the veil what's happening. So I wish I knew more, but I can't. It's not possible. You have to embody the seraphim stage of evolution. And this body I've got at the moment is apparently just 7 hertz. And I have to reach 100 hertz for who knows what. And then who knows how many more hertz to be actually a seraphim in flesh. So it's very complicated. What I'm doing is actually on point, but I am never aware of the results. I'm never aware of who I'm touching, if I've done it right, or obviously I'm doing it to the best of my current abilities, but I don't know for sure exactly what's happening beyond the veil. So beyond the veil is much more complex, much more information, and you have to be one with the Lord completely, which means you have to be the highest seraphim. That's me in the future. I'm the only highest seraphim in the universe, and the only one who gets to rule the universe with the Lord. So I'm just trying to make you aware of the fact that whatever I am presenting is from the current perspective, current knowledge, and is the best way I can put it, whatever it is, whatever information. But it's usually the same old, reviewing past, reviewing actions, reviewing other people's actions, reviewing what's incorrect, reviewing false beliefs, reviewing anything that isn't on point. And I'm actually currently aware to actually present it to you, to understand it first, to digest it, to really be able to represent the Lord. Because if I'm not understanding something, I can't put it out there because it won't make sense to anyone, and it's no point, right? So when it comes to the little prayers I created, you have to try and join in by crossing yourself, whether you do it like the Orthodox with 3 fingers, or you do it with your whole hand like the Catholics do it. It doesn't matter. To cross yourself is actually a symbol for getting baptized Catholic. It's a story that I actually witnessed. Some people were told to be crossing yourselves, and they didn't actually do a cross with their hands. They place themselves in the form of a cross, like standing to look like a cross. But actually the deeper meaning is to get baptized and take on your cross, okay? No baptism is worth anything except the Catholic baptism, because it was given by the Lord. It's built through the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was built on Peter. Peter, as mentioned in the Bible, is the one that the Lord built his church on. So the Lord knew in advance which one of the messages spread out the world will actually last until he returns, and that's the Catholic Church. Okay, the reason why there are so many churches and denominations and other currents like Buddhism and all sorts that have truth in them is because originally they had the original information in them. So it did come from the Lord directly, but over 2,000 years they got edited by the reptilians, so that they can create Nephilim. So anyone who believes that all the churches are real or all the denominations are real, there are 400,000 denominations out there, people, and the Lord only created one church, and only one institution managed to keep it going, and that's because Mother Mary was the one who had to incarnate in that church, which is the Catholic Church, to be all the Catholic saints and guide it, okay? Without her, there would be no church today. Without her, Jesus would have never been born. Without her, there is no 2 witnesses in the end times, because it's her and her husband. And the two are actually the Lord's parents. So everything's connected, everything's fluid, everything makes sense, everything's logical. And if you try and contradict me with what I am saying, I can always find the answer for you. You just have to speak it. So if you have questions or whatever you're wondering about, or if you have issues with manifesting the life you want, or if you don't know what's going to happen in the future, I do have a timeline posted, so I can actually guide you with that. But everything's boils down to being baptized Catholic, because that's the only church that retained the original message to the extent that the Lord agrees with and is okay to accept you in his under his wings. So as I mentioned, cross yourself at the end, because that will just get you used to, well, nobody can see you. So if you're not even Christian, but you came across this, at least you've got a foot in the door. You're heading in the right direction, right? So the prayer is made up by myself, and it's usually created to kind of place the essence of the talk in it. So, Lord, we know you are the one who gives and takes for the benefit of your eternal Davidic kingdom. Prepare us to be worthy of your redeeming work. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So whatever you take from this prayer, I could explain to you what the eternal Davidic kingdom is the kingdom that the Lord rules with his mother. And it's eternal because he is eternal, and his mother is the first one to follow in his footprints, in his footsteps. She's the master alchemist. She's the highest seraphim. There is no creature above her. So, and she's without sin, which means she's also the only one who goes beyond the veil. And she can be in a quantum state so that she can help fallen races to come back to the Lord. So if she has to guide billions of souls at the same time, you can imagine that she could never be doing this work if she was a normal person like you are now, right? So she has a lot of power, things that you can't even imagine. So yeah, and it's all in the genetics, it's all in the DNA, it's all available to be activated by everyone. So you can become exactly like Mother Mary, but you have to put in the work, because she's been here for 12,000 years doing the same thing every single lifetime. That is promoting the truth. Okay, so this is a new addition to my series, court cases. I'm just going to discuss things that have happened in my daily life in connection to a person the Lord asked me to address. So this person, I've never met them, but the Lord is training me to actually be able to speak to anyone, anytime. So whenever something happens in the atmosphere and I have to step in, I have to just try and do that. I can't think too much, because it's usually just go. It's like, go. Do it. Like, don't think about it, because when you think about it and you kind of stumble and stop and kind of cancel the effects, that's the ego. So yeah, the ego is quite smart. The ego wants to keep you comfortable where you are, not change the scenery, not change the habits, not change, not be baptized, all of that. So that's the ego. Anybody who's telling you you don't need to be baptized in the Catholic Church, or any lie related to the Lord's truth, that is the ego, the demonic self. The ego is built through demonic lies. So any lie you have in yourself, you might not even be aware that you're carrying a million lies around with you all day, every day. And I'm here to undo all your knots, to undo all your unconsciousness, to help you realize the actual truth, because the truth keeps you alive. The truth is the Lord. The truth is life. And humanity, the ascending humanity, which are not that many souls there, a third will make it to the new earth, and from those he will select the few. I don't know how many, But every soul will be distributed where they belong. So everybody goes where they belong. If you didn't even make it to the new earth, which is 5.7 billion people, they will not make it. Well, those people will never see the light of day. They will never be in the living universe again. They will never incarnate ever again. Okay. Let's hope I made a point. Sometimes I go down the rabbit hole. So Lord's Court Case number 5, First Will Be Last, is a title I chose for it because that's the vibe I got from the story. And I'm just going to read through. I have photography for it, so every time the number changes here, it's not like another chapter. It's more like me trying to split the story so I know when to change the photography, the pictures here. This is all AI. Everything I've got is AI created, just to make a point to help you kind of remember the story, and so that it's not too boring, because I have text to the left and text to the right. To the right we have the Lord. This is the wafer that represents the body of Christ. It's placed inside a sampler, that's something that you can walk around with, something you could place somewhere and not have the body of Christ end up on the floor, because that's a sin, or torn to pieces. Obviously, you have to be very careful how you partake in the sacrament. In the Catholic Church, there are specific rules, and the priests always know what to do if there's an accident. It is seen with very high reverence whenever you partake of the sacrament. So yeah, this is why these samplers were created, so that you can put the wafer inside here in the middle. Very decorative, very cute, and they represent the sun god. Sun, this is a sun rays. Yeah, sun god, that's Jesus, because Jesus is light and the sun is eternal, so whatever he creates lasts forever, as long as it does his will. Okay, so I was in my usual 4 to 5 hour walk around the local villages when a biker loudly said hi to warn me of his arrival on the path. We were at the bottom of a steep hill. He wanted to bike up, but I warned him that no one has actually achieved it before while I have been around doing these lengthy walks every day. I have seen folk try, but it has always proven way too steep for people's tiny muscles. No one has managed to bike out of the depression under my watch. So because sometimes I speak in riddles, it seems that I'm constantly coming back to using symbology in my speech, which is actually a new skill. It's a new something. So I notice myself type depression. So that's because whenever I address a case, a soul, whenever I mirror them, it's all about raising them up to higher ground. So out of depression, out of a hole, out of a ditch. And you'll see more about that as I talk. Number 2, giants. I said he would need to have twice as much muscle, but then he suggested having an engine also to go up the hill, right? I corrected saying that the muscle is the engine, but it just needs to be bigger to take on the hill. So perhaps if the bikers were giants, reptilians, right? Again, metaphors. I never mentioned reptilians by using the word reptilian. I did speak to him about giants from a different perspective, but it seems that every time I speak about something, I always mention something that's connected to a higher plane of understanding. So it's all metaphorical, just like the Lord was speaking in riddles. I seem to be doing the same these days. I don't mean it, it just happens, and it takes me back to other concepts, something that people don't know, something hidden. So yeah, having a bigger muscle is also connected to the fact that the soul is given more power to ascend. But obviously you have to serve the Lord, you have to be on the right path, you have to be baptized Catholic, you have to do so many things, you have to go to church and receive the Eucharist, because you cannot buy on the internet, for example. It has to be blessed in the church by a Catholic priest. So no matter who says the opposite, they just don't know. They don't know because they're not real Christians, right? So what I said, it seemed like a silly conversation, because he was being all practical about solving the problem of going uphill while I was talking in riddles without realizing it. So yeah, I was thinking about giants and he was thinking about motorbikes. He got off the bike and walked up the hill. I then randomly mentioned the stairs were fixed. Last week there was a team of guys who came with wood and some bits of metal because some of the stairs got too muddy and got trampled on for too long. There's millions of people coming that way every year, so the stairs are kind of embedded in the mud, in the soil, and sometimes they come off or get removed, get torn because it's just wood, it gets broken. So I mentioned that they were fixed and he said, yes, it's nice. When we got to the top of, he slowed down and the Lord prompted me through knowing to speak to him about flood. So the whole atmosphere kind of changed because he got to the top, but it seemed to me like he's slowing down and I wondered why. I later on found out why, but this gave me the opportunity to kind of stop with him and talk to him about something the Lord wanted to talk about. Never mind the hints that he missed, I had to be straightforward. So yeah, I portrayed reptiles on bikes because they are definitely bigger. They are about 3 meters tall. They have much bigger muscles. You cannot fight them physically, face to face. They will just tear you apart and eat you. They actually do eat human flesh. It's not a joke. They consider you their farm animals. And that's what hell is all about. They feed off you in every way possible. You create things for them, you keep them comfortable, you warm them up, you cook them, you feed them, all of that. So you're a slave race at the moment, and the Lord came to save you from them. Okay? That's the whole point. So here goes the story, the flood. I told him it is literally how I started the conversation when I got to the top. That's all I said. I said, I'm flooding the earth and that I am Mother Mary. So imagine somebody just starting a conversation like that with you. Obviously, we talked about silly things as we were climbing up, but when we got to the top, it got so serious. Out of the blue, yeah? Because there's no time. The Lord knows there is no time to speak to somebody, especially if they're on their bikes, they're just coming going. So I just jumped straight into it. I said that the flood is meant to wipe out 2/3 of the Nephilim. He asked what Nephilim is, so he was clearly completely unaware of anything. He didn't know what was going on. I said it is a repeating Bible story where reptilian hybrids take over the world after it's been some time since the Lord visited the planet. I told him I will be flooding the plains because that is where the Nephilim built using concrete. I advised him to move off grid. And that's the next piece. At the bottom of a mountain, which is symbolic of beginning your climb towards the top of the mountain of God. So if you know, in the Bible it mentions Moses going to the top of the mountain. Moses is a Marian incarnation, so he is the highest seraphim. Mother Mary had thousands and thousands of incarnations, some of them running parallel at the same time, some of them coming from the future into the past, and all sorts of things like that, because the anointing has to be there for the exact job that needs doing. And so as Mother Mary has been ascending over time, after being created as a human on earth, you can imagine that everything she's been doing in the last 12,000 years of being here has been to fulfill the plan of salvation, because the Lord cannot stay in hell. This earth is part of hell. He cannot stay in hell. It's not a resonance match to him, and he's got better things to do. Right, so in his absence, the one who's left behind to execute the plan is Mother Mary, and she has incarnated as many prophets in the Old Testament, as well as the Catholic saints, which obviously are prophets. That's what a saint is a prophet, because you cannot meet the requirements unless you are in a certain way, like without sin, virgin, trying to do your best. And only the high seraphim seems to be able to pull all the strings, right? Because if you study the saints and anything that has been guiding humanity, right? Anything that has given messages from the Lord, but not like quoting the Bible. That's not proper message, yeah? Because the saints and the apostles and anyone who's actually channeled the Lord actually had new information to give. So anyone who's channeling today is on a journey of discovering that they are not even baptized. So any channelers out there, whatever they say, they're usually quoting the Bible. They're being sent back to the Bible by the Lord because they've not been baptized. They've not understood the basics yet. Okay? So there's two kinds of people that give messages from the Lord. The ones that are just quoting Bible and they don't know the basics and they're not baptized. And the other ones that are seraphim that actually explain concepts that are much higher consciousness and harder to understand. And yeah, it's much harder work because you need a higher resonance body and you have to be as clean as possible. You cannot be married to somebody and channel complex things. You have to be a virgin and so on. The Jews had virgins in their temples. When they had temples, they don't anymore because they don't listen to the guidance coming through the virgins anymore. Everything was replaced with men this, men that. Men run the world, but actually it's the women that are the higher resonance. It's the women that can self-clone. It's the women that can birth higher resonance children into the world and so on. It's not the men. Men can't even create. They can't create any beings, They're just a supporting role, but at the moment they're not supporting anything except the devil. So I created this little AI thing, picture, to show you what the plan is. You have to move off grid at the bottom of a mountain. I always have to mention that because it's not just symbolic. I'm flooding the plains. So anything that is not correct match with the altitude will just be underwater. So you don't want to be at the bottom. You have to be at the top of the hills, top of the plains, top of the everything, at the bottom of a real mountain. An actual physical mountain is not just a metaphor, okay? Before the end of 2029, because that's when I'm flooding. End of 2029. I don't know if it's November or December, but I know it's right at the end, because 2030 will mark the beginning of the reborn human race. The human race has not been reborn yet, okay? So a third of humanity will survive and reach the new earth, but not everybody will be kept, because the Lord can only work with the highest in resonance, right? So the warriors, the Lord's going to keep the 7 density archangels, because they are the ones who get to become kings and queens on different planets, okay? But first, they will have to be kings and queens here on the new earth, and then for 1,000 years, 1,000-year reign. I don't know if that's exactly 1,000 years as we interpret it, but you know that time has sped up now. So what 1,000 years will be in the future is not what 1,000 years is felt like today. Okay, so it's all relative. And this is a picture of a mountain of God, so to speak. It's a metaphor, but you do have to move at the bottom to survive the flood. The flood is actual flood. It's not a metaphor. Just in case you are wondering. No, it's a real flood. It's not the first one. It's the 7th one. Okay, I've been flooding the earth a few times already, 6 times. For the same reason, because there's too many Nephilim, and the world is becoming too confusing because of the Nephilim work they're doing to confuse the human mind and soul. Mind, body, and soul, completely confused. You can't get out of the mess you're in, which is why I have to come in and explain things for you. Hopefully you'll manifest me. You never know. So the Lord will try and bring you to me, and then hopefully you will listen. If you're online, of course. If not, I'll still be in person with some of you. but not yet. At the moment, I'm just doing basics. So whoever I meet at the moment is just like here one, there one, you know. Once a week, I meet somebody who's on the wrong path. Number 5. So still having a chat with the guy. He I think it was just being silly, kind of trying to entertain my conversation. So he's like, so Trump will not rule the world. And I said, no, because he serves the devil. I asked him if he knows he visited the King of England recently. He said yes. Then I said King Charles is a Nephilim and all the world leaders serve him. In the meantime, other bikers arrived and I realized why he stopped. He was the leader of the pack. They didn't wait for him though. Some lingered, but only for a few seconds. He then took off saying, good luck. I said, thanks, I don't need it. And he laughed. And then I'll explain why I don't need it. When you have divine wisdom, which is Lady Wisdom, which is the golden one, which is Divine Mother Mary, which is me, you do not need luck. Why? Because you have knowledge. Divine wisdom is knowledge from the higher realms, from the Lord. And it makes sense that if you have knowledge, you're not going to need luck. Luck is something that people are hoping for. People are hoping they will get it right. People are hoping, you know, hope. But what the Lord wants is action. Manifesting the truth, accepting it, and taking the action. For example, if I tell you get baptized Catholic, if you want your soul to live, this is the last incarnation on earth or anywhere else where you will be allowed to incarnate. Okay, if you're a soul that doesn't make it to the new earth, then you will never incarnate ever again. Not in the living universe. You'll just come back to this earth, but this earth will be destroyed. And once it's destroyed, that's it. You no longer have lives left. You run out of lives, right? So this lifetime is the worst you can experience, because if you're not figuring things out now, last minute, you will never figure them out. And the Lord allows people, souls, to experience this earth a bit longer until their genetics are completely switched off, okay? Because if you're still creating children, and the reptiles can still create children in the labs by taking your genetics and somehow creating some sort of monstrosities, hybrids and things like that. So humanity on this earth will continue to exist, but not as a real, it will be a soulless existence. You will not have a soul anymore, right? Because you ran out of time, you didn't say yes to the Lord, and he doesn't give life to people who don't want it. Okay, number 6. Patrick. This clicked with me because it's completely related to the topic. I didn't realize it until I started typing it up. Patrick means nobility, Aurelia, gold. Okay, it's all connected. In my mind, I thought good luck is for the blind, which means spiritually blind, of course, which led me to think about the 4-leaf clover reptilian programming that replaced the Lord's cross. Also, I must mention, in Pleiades, people are born with blindness or eye problem because they're blind about the Lord's existence. They were indoctrinated by the reptiles to believe in modern Buddhism, where you ascend through your ego, you ascend for yourself, your own plans of salvation. You know, you can't do that. You have to follow the Lord. Okay. So yeah, I was thinking about the 4-leaf clover, and then I realized, or the Lord suggested it, that is actually a replacement for the cross. So all of these symbology, whether it was known in the past or not, whether it was understood in the past or not, today it's gone. Okay. So if you look at this picture, you will never understand what it says. I can read it because I created it first of all, and I put the elements in it, and I will explain them to you. But you don't know what's happening. You don't know what this is. Who are they? You know, it's illogical to you because you don't know what the elements are. I realized that the rainbow with the clover dwarf and a bag of gold are symbols for people with little consciousness, which is you. meeting the golden one, Mother Mary, Lady Wisdom, which is me, and accepting the clover as your own cross, symbol for Catholic baptism, right? And Mother Mary is also known as the Rainbow Bridge because she's humanity's guide back to God's infinite universe. So the Mother of God is the only creature that is able to go beyond the veil and know the God's mind fully. That's why she's able to actually guide every soul that is reborn. So you have to be born again. So yes, if you look up Patrick's Day or four-leaf clover or rainbow, any of these elements related to each other, you'll find pictures online, and there'll be creepy pictures from the 80s, 90s, you know. But the elements will be in the picture with a bag of gold, but I replaced it with what it means. It's the golden one, which is Mother Mary. And I put the shepherd's staff because she understands how to ascend. So the shepherd's staff is showing you the staircase to heaven. Right. And this is a cross. So the four-leaf clover is a cross. But because it's symbolism and it was lost in time, people no longer understand any of this. So yeah, this is the human consciousness, which is small, tiny. And that took me to Snow White. So I linked so many things in this thought. It kept going. The giants are the reptiles, somewhat conscious but evil. They have modern inner Earth bases, genetic labs, plus ships in orbit. They can leave the Earth's surface anytime they want. They're right here with you, by the way. And they do eat flesh, human flesh. But they will never share any of that info with you because they don't want you redeemed. They want you dead in sin, unbaptized, so they can continue to keep you on hell Earth, which is here, as slaves that create the reality they want for themselves. So this is it. They're just piggybacking you all the time. And this is me on a ship. I like designing ships sometimes because it's kind of like a contained reality. I'm removing myself from the dirt on Earth, just for fun for a second, you know. I had this made, which is like a Star Trek multidimensional chess game, because that's what the reptiles are playing at. And that's what the universe is all about, because souls from every realm, as I mentioned already, come down to the bottom realm, which is Earth, for example, to save whatever souls fell too far. They cannot understand how to come back to the Lord, you know. And like I mentioned, Pleiadians don't even know God exists. They think source is just like a quantum state. It's a mind that knows all things that they have to return to. But that's it. It's just like a mind, you know. They don't know he can incarnate. They don't know he created everything. They think they can create their own bodies. They think the soul creates things. The soul doesn't. Because the soul is not the creator. The spirit is the creator. Okay? So they're completely bonkers. They don't know what they're doing. Yeah, Pleiades. You think that having ships and being able to fly in a quantum state and be here in 15 minutes from all the way from Pleiades, because that's how they do it. They just come out of one reality, go through the ether, and then come out in a different place, sort of thing, you know. But it's the same place, but it's traveling at a much faster speed. You're teleporting, okay? It's teleportation, but it takes sit time. That's what they call it. And you've seen it in Star Trek when they go warp speed, whatever, you know. But in Star Trek, they reach destination in seconds instead of minutes. Right, even Star Trek is doing better. Yeah, so I portrayed myself as the Queen of Angels, which is what I am. Earth in the background, the sun, and reptilian hybrids here, which is what Nephilim are, which is what you are. But you'll probably not have patchy skin like that. You'll just look human because you still have a final chance to be redeemed. But there are some reptiles that look more reptilian, and they're definitely not human. They're reptiles, but they're still hybrids. So there's many kinds of hybrids because the reptilian race is part of a very intense hybridization program they are creating for themselves, because they cannot live any other way, because they feed off others. Okay, so they have labs and they're constantly tinkering. The big pharma is theirs. They create acids that kill people. The vaccines are all deadly, all of them. There's nothing good coming from them. Nothing, absolutely nothing. They're also, the big pharma creates the drugs, the street drugs that you're aware of, people going crazy from them and killing themselves. Yeah, it's all from big pharma, and it's all reptilian. Okay, so I said next generation, unless you are baptized Catholic for the forgiveness of demonic sins, you are a Nephilim, a reptilian hybrid. The Eucharist is the Lord's actual divine genetics shared with his followers through the bread of life. It undoes the Nephilim reptilian lineage. So whenever you come across the idea on the internet that we are the royal lineage, and they're going to talk about it, and they'll have like black eyeliner around their eyes and look creepy and aged, and talk about things that, I don't know, might be confusing to you, but they're actually talking about the reptilian lineage, and they're not divine. Okay, they're just demonic. That was 7. Let me see what's next. Yeah, so they eat human flesh and use you for their genetic hybridization programs in hope to extend their own lives, livestock, and expansion hopes. So they have big plans. Every time they get their hands on a new race that is fallen, that's it. You're it. You're the new toy. Okay, so they exploit you in ways you can't even imagine. They're always hoping they will somehow defeat God one day, even though they're not anointed to do such a thing. So when the Lord incarnates in his second coming, which is not second, it's probably the 7th, but you call it second because you have no memory of the past. So when he comes back, he will have so much power that they will try to kill him. And I actually saw this in a vision. They'll try to kill him and nothing will happen. Nothing. It will just go straight through him. Whatever they'll try and use on him. In my vision, there was an arrow, but in reality, it's probably laser. So, yeah. They think that he's just like everybody else. You have no idea. I'm the highest seraphim, and I do not have his power. So what he has, imagine a mind, yeah? So you see him as a creature, but he's a mind. So how can you defeat a mind that is omnipotent? You can't, yeah? So it's all a joke in their minds. They think they can defeat him. It's not even possible. You can't defeat a mind. How do you defeat a mind? A perfect mind. You can't defeat a perfect mind, right? It's illogical. They're not high consciousness at all. I look at them and think, how are these people fooling everybody? No idea. I have no idea. All life answers to the Lord, and nothing escapes his gaze. He controls all creation from within. Whatever he does not give, no one can take away from him. So if he doesn't want to be killed, he will not be killed, because no one can do that. No one has that power. No one has power over him. Not even close. You can't do anything he doesn't want you to do. So yeah, the Lord is in control of everything. Every single little thing, including the reptilian race, who is known as the devil or the snake in the Bible. Okay? The devil is not some woo-woo imaginary thing. It's a race. Part of creation is Lucifer. Okay. This is a cute one. I like the bunny. Ego death. Everything I said and observed was encoded or metaphorical. Maybe the leader of the pack will be separated from his current environment and make it to the new earth alone with nothing and no one, just to be shown his errors as divine retribution. You must understand that people I actually talk to are chosen by the Lord, and they are marked. If I talk to them, they have my mark. And based on that, the Lord is all wise and knows how to train the worthy souls into submission. So if somehow he's worthy of ascending to the new earth, I have no idea. And he was given like basic information in 5 seconds of being with me, you can understand that he will be expected to do his job and research things, you know. If he doesn't do it now, he'll be sorry later and whatever. So every time I feed you information, it's for your benefit. If you refuse it, then something will go wrong for you just because you rejected truth. And it doesn't matter who the truth comes through as much, except the higher the truth, the more is expected of you, because it's more accurate truth, you know. So it's like the people who are promoting Bible verses and stuff like that, they don't have the same anointing as me. So if the Lord stopped me to stop you and talk to you, that's much bigger than you can imagine. Much bigger than somebody talking on YouTube about this and that Bible verse, you know. So I inserted this Bible verse here. Matthew 20:16, the last will be first and the first will be last, because it was connected to him being the leader of the pack, because he was literally the first biker and everybody else was so behind. I didn't realize that there were people behind him. They were far behind. They were like minutes, because it gave me time to talk to him. Probably maximum 5 minutes. Right. Resisting Lady Wisdom. So because he was being sarcastic as he was leaving, you know, because you need to understand how British people operate. They're like, they will tolerate a little bit of your chit chat, but then they'll be like, okay, good luck. You know, sarcasm. So I'm picking it up. I'm watching you. So my walk with the Lord is meant to bring my powers back just by me speaking his truth to those unconscious. I found Eckhart Tolle trying to express what I was saying here, but I wanted something that sounded a bit more cool. So I looked up the generic. I copied my text and put it on in Google to see if anybody said it in any other way, you know, to kind of have like a different way of putting it, because I sometimes use words that are too plain, too simple, or too boring. And then I came across Eckhart Tolle explaining the tower moment. I added my own edits in red. So even he, well, I changed the color, but in the brackets. My edits are in the brackets. So I don't think Eckhart is actually baptized, because he understands he managed to download higher consciousness kind of ideas and put them in writing, which is quite a big deal. But he's never connecting truth with the Lord at all. So I think he's not baptized. He's not a true Christian. He's not anything like that. He does have his own style and technique of explaining things, and sometimes he's so boring I could die watch him. But the point is that he got this right, but it was missing all the divine mentions. Divine this, divine that, you know. The ego believes that in your resistance to the divine Lady Wisdom, which is Mother Mary, because she's the one doing all the hard work, you know, she's the body of Christ, she's the one in flesh all the time. So the ego believes that in your resistance lies your strength, whereas in truth, resistance cuts you off from being the only place of true power. So being refers to who? The Lord. He's the life, right? Being, the life. So Eckhart never connected being with the Lord and resisting wisdom to Mother Mary, because she's the one promoting everything. So I thought that was interesting. So I enjoyed finding this quote from him and thinking, yeah, there's half of it missing, half of the text that explains who you're supposed to link to, you know. He hasn't got it. He's not linked. He's not a Christian. He's not saved yet. His soul is knowledgeable. So yeah, he could be 7th density archangel, but he's not connected, not clicked with anything. Where does the wisdom come through? Mother Mary. Why? Because the Lord is not here in the physical all the time. That's why he leaves his mother in charge every single lifetime, every single moment of the day. And then I got 1 Peter 5:5. God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. Right. I agree. And yeah, so be careful how you maneuver yourself, how you react to things. If you're taking on anything positive, if you're rejecting truth, how do you know it's truth? You need to do some more digging. You can't just sit around expecting things to take you to the next level up. You don't just get there. You have to know the truth and apply it. Mother Mary has been all the saints, and if you've not studied a single one, the Catholic saints, I mean, then you don't know anything. You don't know anything about what's to come. You don't know how to piece things together, because she's the one who pieced the bigger puzzle for everybody. Because what you have from the Lord in the Bible might not be enough, and it's definitely not enough for most of the people on the planet. 90% are Nephilim. Okay? So it's not enough. She had to come back and guide humanity, and the Lord left humanity in her care with the words, "Behold your mother," when he was on the cross. Okay? All right. So this was portraying refusing wisdom from the mother of God. That was it. Nothing too complex. I kept it because I liked the portrait of me. Of course, my hair is brown, so nothing I ever get from the AI actually looks at all like me. So yeah, but I kept it. It's cute. And this is a biker, because that's who I talk to, a biker. And that's the devil, because that's how you are programmed. The devil works through your ego. So anything you go against truth is your ego, and it is programming, and it's demonic, right? So the AI picture was actually pretty good. And it even added this water here, which is funny because I didn't request it. I didn't request chains. I didn't request any of this, or the lighting, or anything, or crown. But it just happened, and it did click in, because the water is baptism. And that's what separates me, who knows the truth, from those who know nothing. Is just a Catholic baptism. Because to be baptized, even, you have to study the Catholic beliefs. You can't join in if you don't believe in it. You don't just get baptized. You have to study for it, because you're supposed to know what you're believing in, what you're subscribing to. Epic revival. So as I mentioned, the dwarf from earlier, which symbolized humans, human consciousness, small people, small dwarfs, small humans. It went into Snow White story, because that's also about me as well. So I reflected on the 7 dwarfs as symbol for humans who constantly work hard but can never change their slavery status. They lived on the 7 Genesis earths. So you have 7 dwarfs. So that's symbolic of 7 earths. Why? Because the reptiles keep track of everything. How do you think they can manipulate you so well? In such a way that you never know anything. You are so confused. If they hadn't kept track of anything. They do keep track, because that's the only way for them to stay involved and in control of what you know and do. Because if they don't know what you know, they can't control you. If you ever watched, there was this, because the Lord just dropped this in my mind. There was a concert dedicated to Diana, Princess Diana, Diana. She was a princess, never became anything else, because she was obviously married to a Nephilim. How come she was picked? Because she was not part of the Catholic Church. She was part of a Church of England, which is demonic. So people are selected on purpose because they have something in common with the reptiles. Okay, so they could have never picked me, for example, to be married to Prince Charles, for example. So Charles and Diana went to this concert, and apparently Diana was asking Michael Jackson if he's going to sing Dirty Diana, right? And she was so sneaky, you know, because she really wanted to do something about that. She liked to dance on stage sometimes, and she shocked Prince Charles once because she appeared as one of the people on stage dancing, and she was kind of like half naked and stuff, so he was embarrassed with the whole performance. So she was going to do it again to him, and so he was asking Michael Jackson if he was going to sing, if he's sticking to the plan to sing Dirty Diana, and he said no. So he wouldn't dare, right? But then pops Charles in, and he's like, so what are you talking about? Do you see? That's how they operate. They want to know everything. So if you've ever been somebody important, you should know. Even White House, especially White House in America, is completely wired. So anybody who sits on that throne is an idiot, a puppet, okay? Because nothing escapes the reptiles. So whoever you think you're hiring or working with or whatever, there's ears in the walls all the time. Because the reptiles cannot control the story if they don't know what's happening, right? So yeah, in a nutshell, they know there have been 7 earths, 7 Genesis steps, 7 menorah candles, 7, right? Because they take their toys and go downstairs. They go in the inner earth, or they go on ships. They just teleport on ships, or they get picked up, whatever. It doesn't matter how they do it, but they have backup. They have backup on the ground. They have backup on the surface. They have backup in the space, and they're constantly being helped. Yeah, you are helped by the King of the universe, and you're rejecting him, right? By not being baptized Catholic. He did not build 1,000 churches, like I said. He only built one to give his flesh to people, which is actually quantum super technology. You're looking at it because you think it's a wafer a human made. Yes, but when it is blessed, that has the same essence as God. Okay? So if you think you understand anything about the Eucharist, you don't. I just told you what it really, really, really is. It's super technology. It's beyond anybody could ever create. Okay? And it's alive. And sometimes the flesh, the Christ flesh appears in water, or if it's dropped somewhere, or something happens, you know. Or if it's given to somebody, it can appear as flesh. So it's real, people, real. So the Lord is sharing his genetics through a wafer, okay? And it's real. Right, so the 7 dwarfs is the people that lived on the 7 earths, going through the Genesis process to be a new race, born through the mother and father, Mother Mary and Jesus, okay? You can't be born of just the father, you have to be born of the mother as well. So you have to be baptized first. The mother controls the water, the mother floods the earth, the Mother Mary is without sin, which is why she is equal to Jesus. Nobody else is equal to him. Nobody else rules the universe with him. So they lived on the 7 Genesis earths while being visited by the rightful Davidic queen, which is Mother Mary, Snow White. If you never understood the Snow White story, it's all about Mother Mary. It's created to tease you because you do not understand it, okay? This is how the reptiles operate. They're just showing you the truth, but you don't understand it. So they're checking on you. Every time they come out with these stories, they're symbolic. They're testing your boundaries to see, have you awakened by any chance? Do you understand the symbolism? No? Good. We'll give you some more garbage. That's how they do it. She was then removed from her Jewish throne of the Davidic kingdom of God over 2,000 years ago. So the Jewish throne, Mother Mary and Joseph were born of the same lineage of the lion tribe. Yeah, Judah tribe. And they are the ones who rule. So the Judah tribe rules, but they weren't allowed to rule because the reptiles came in and put somebody else in their place. Yeah? Okay. So, and that was 2,000 years ago. And since then, we've been working behind the scenes to keep the Catholic Church going so that you can access the Eucharist. That's the whole story. That's why I'm trying to make a point. It's all about the Eucharist. If you're not accessing that, you're not getting baptized Catholic. You haven't achieved anything during the 7-day Genesis. The 7 earths that have been so far, you've not achieved anything if you've not managed to save yourself and your soul through the Catholic Church. Okay? It's just basics, people. I'm just repeating myself. Hopefully you understand. And as it goes, the Bible does tell you how everything ends. The 2 witnesses, Mary and Joseph, get killed by the evil Nephilim in 2038. It's in the Bible. After all the 12,000 years of human evolution drama, which is the 7 Genesis Earths, right? The story 7 days of Genesis, it's not days, it's Earths. 7 planets have been destroyed. Well, this is the 7th one. It's being destroyed through the flood by me in 2029. And then before the baptism with fire comes, because the Lord is returning to the new earth. So before he is baptizing it with fire, I'm sent out yet again and I get killed at the end. So after all the drama, the story ends well with her being resurrected with the metaphoric kiss, aka the breath of life, performed by her son, King and Creator Jesus. So I die in 2038 on the same spot that the Lord died. I'm not alone. I'm with my husband, who is Joseph, and will be resurrected on the 3rd day. Nobody will bury us. It's in the Bible. It's already known. So the Bible has already told you the truth. You just never understood it. You don't even know there's a queen. That's the problem. But the Catholic Church knows. They do call Mother Mary the Queen of Heaven. So yeah. Revelations. The 2 witnesses in the end time. Mary and Joseph. 1 soul. Yeah, so we are 2 bodies in 1 soul in 2 bodies. We're also known as the Davidic. And that's the first time I heard it when the Pleiadians were talking about me in one video. They dedicated one video to me. I don't even know who was talking because they said it was a researcher on the ship. Somebody just butted in to say Davidic this, Davidic that. Okay. And then they visited me. So that was interesting. The Lord's parents, right hand, co-redeemer. So these are all the same thing. I'm explaining who I am. Highest seraphim. So then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud while their enemies looked on. So this is what happens in Revelation 11:12, which is fascinating because I only found out about a week ago. Yeah, I didn't know I was going to die. But there's no other way to receive power. You have to die like he did. By serving God in a very epic kind of way. So yeah. 11, I'm trying to explain symbolisms, yeah? So what I was doing, what I was going through while I was with this biker. The stairs we climb can symbolize the staircase to heaven. Me offering information to him at the top of the little hill is divine wisdom coming from Lady Wisdom, Mother Mary, which is me. So yeah. Cute little portrait. The AI kept getting it wrong. I had to keep editing it to get it the way I imagined it. And that's it. He was climbing. The stairs were much narrower, like a third of what you see here, width-wise. And he was right in front of me. So, okay. The tower moment. The Lord mentioned through others that I should not hold back information just because I don't know if it will have a desired effect or not. There are many pieces of the puzzle I can't know now, but I'm okay with sharing information because that was my conclusion months ago when I realized that someone has to be here on the ground to try and convert people's perception, or too many souls will be lost, which is true. I kept thinking, how is it that nobody, it was so funny. I was thinking to myself, why is nobody doing this? Why is nobody converting these people? If I was seeing the truth, they were not seeing anything. They were talking nonsense. I was listening to like thousands of people talk about their bullshit. And I thought, somebody has to do something. I didn't realize it was me. I was like, okay, somebody. Who's that somebody? Elephant in the room, right? So that time has now come, and every time I give people the truth, they are able to accept it. Not accepting it brings them down from their egoic Tower of Babel. When truth is served, souls must comply. I think that's souls must comply, or the wrath of God falls upon them, removing them from power. So you must understand that the same way the Lord gives you genetic activation through the Eucharist, the Catholic Eucharist, no other Eucharist, the same way he takes power from you if you're denying him, if you're not listening to truth, because if you allow him to testify inside you so that you know it really is true, you kind of have to step back a bit. You have to give it a little bit of time, maybe do a bit of research, and then you'll be like, aha, okay, and then you get it. So it depends how far below you are fallen, okay? If you're more knowledgeable, you accept the truth right away. So it's all to do with your work as well as the Lord. The Lord is always there because he beats your heart. You cannot exist without him giving you a body and beating your heart. Nobody starts that beating heart. He does, right? You do not create your body. Your parents do not create the body. He does. There's not a way for you to exist. Okay. 13. I connected to this vision because this is what I'm doing at the moment. So every time I talk to somebody, it's like picking up a little dirty baby. So I actually saw this vision about 2 weeks ago, and I was laughing all by myself, of course, because I was like walking in the fields by myself, with the Lord, but by myself. He doesn't have a body yet. So in a vision from 2 weeks ago, the Lady Wisdom, was lifting up a muddy baby by its huge pooped up diaper to have a closer look at him. Is it gonna... I didn't change the diaper, I didn't wipe the baby, I didn't hold him in my arms, I did none of that. I was just, that's all, the image was just in my mind, so not like I was seeing it. It was a knowing. Again, it's how I operate, because knowing can never be tarnished. You cannot, the devil can talk to you and the devil can show you stuff in your mind, but the knowing he cannot replace. That's why the knowing is the highest anointing you can have. When you just know, and I can't even explain it because it's something the soul has to build over many thousands of years, and you would have to come from the highest realm to start with, so you have to be a seraphim for that. I don't know who else has knowing, but it will probably be for things that it's more casual. Yeah, you can have knowing, but yeah, different kind of knowing, depends on the concept. So yeah, I'm not changing anything. I'm not taking over your lives. I can only pass on messages. I can only look at you, and I can give you something to help you along the way, to help you ascend, hopefully. I understand that this mirroring process I started is part of my ascension. I must deal with the Nephilim babies that perhaps could stand a chance at ascending to the new earth. So Nephilim babies are just humans, like I said, the dwarfs, the human consciousness, which is very tiny. If you want to imagine yourself as something cuter, just imagine a ball of light the size of your hand, your fist, so the size of your heart. yeah, you can imagine yourself as that. That's cute. But in my vision, I just saw a giant poopy diaper and the baby that was dirty. And guess what? The AI would not create this for me. It just wouldn't. I must have spent an hour trying to rephrase to get it to comply. It didn't. So what I asked in the end was go backwards. I thought, okay, let's trick you in this one. I asked for a image with the queen holding a baby or lifting a baby or something like that. And it gave me something, and then I changed everything around and got it to look the way it does. And it's funny, that's how you bypass AI, in case you needed a lesson. Just start with something idealistic and then work your way backwards to create something less idealistic. This is symbology. Obviously, I'm the highest seraphim. The dirt and the poop and all of that is just sin, people, right? So it's symbol for sin. I'm not trying to create this neglect in your mind. It's sin, okay? Sin, which is your neglect. So the humans are neglecting themselves by sinning. It's not my doing, it's your doing, okay? And I look at you and I think, this isn't right. Even the stare had to be created because they created something funny, happy, you know. So no. I am not impressed. I'm just looking and thinking, what can I give you? What can I give you? I'm the mirror of the world, and what I give you is what you are judged upon by the Lord. He's within you and knows everything about you, every single piece of information you have ever manifested and have taken action on or not. So I am the 12th Master Nemesis Aurelia. I decided to translate for you what that means. A 12th Master is the highest seraphim, most evolved creature in the universe, mother of God. Nemesis traces back, this is actually copied from Google. I found it on Google, yeah, so I'm just giving you a Google definition for this. Nemesis traces back to ancient Greek, where it originally meant distribution of what is due, or righteous anger. Divine retribution, this is me explaining. Justice, balancing of karma, because that's more modern, you understand it better. Righteous anger might be a bit, how could anger be righteous? Well, you might perceive me as angry, but actually I'm speaking the truth. So that's how it's done. Aurelia derives from the Latin word aureus, meaning golden or gilded. Historically implies radiance, prestige, and prosperity. I can add higher consciousness, most anointed oil. Okay, that's what it is. And this is a painting, very old. I didn't keep track of. It's famous. Okay. Goddess Nemesis Aurelia. So if you look that up, Google it, you'll come across something similar. In pursuit of crime, which is why there is a sword in her hand. It's obviously a woman. It's Mother Mary, angelic queen, wearing gold. So this was an oil painting because I could tell I had to restore it with the use of AI to look a bit better, because I don't like distorted images and stuff like that. She's holding the time's up, you know, it's the deadline, which is what's happening right now. Trying to save the last few souls, and it's going to take a while. So up till 2038, which is 12 years. Yeah, so I've got 12 years of work. What I'm doing now is basic stuff. What I'm going to do later will be super complex, all the way up to 2038 when I get killed, because I'll be on sacred grounds and it'll be time to ascend physically with my body. So I have to die for that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And I think I have another picture with the graces. I'm the one who locks the devil in hell, the one who protects the needy, the one who is without sin, like God, Michael. So what they call Archangel Michael is actually me, El means God, Mika means like God. So that's literal translation. It couldn't be any more clear. And this is something I found in the picture. Graces, this is a quote. I actually said this to somebody. Could have been like hundreds of years ago. I don't know. I don't always keep track of all the details. It's not important. The time is not important. The essence is important. I put the text into AI to give me a picture, and this is what it gave me. A cross, people. It gave me a cross. I didn't expect to see it, but I was super impressed. Thank you, AI. These graces are from my son. I take them from his heart. He cannot refuse me, Mother Mary. So yeah, that's what Mother Mary is. She's the highest creature, most evolved, most useful to God. And that's how you connect to her, through Catholic baptism, through prayers. There's plenty of prayers to Mother Mary, prayers to the saints, prayers to intercession, prayers for all kinds of things. But obviously, if you're not subjecting yourself to the basic, which is the Catholic baptism, it's all kind of a waste of time, because everything, all the work I've done, all the work that Jesus has done, all the work that all the saints and prophets have done was to bring you in this lifetime, where all the souls are gathered on earth right now, for upgrade. You just have to take it. If you don't take it, it is nobody's problem. Okay, so you've got free will, and the Lord, even though He is God, He will respect your free will. He cannot force you to say yes to Him. And channelers receive that, and they never get it. They never understand. They don't connect the dots. He's referring to Catholic baptism. It's no point in just receiving messages from Him and passing on awesome truths that even I didn't know about. So I was listening to them and thinking, oh my God, that's me. But they didn't know it was me, because from the text, you can't tell. If you don't know what the Catholic Church promotes and who is connected to, which is Mother Mary, the co-redeemer, you can't extract information from a text if you don't have it already. So I always build kind of like a brick wall. So when you're building a brick wall, you've got like about 5 pieces of brick connected in one single spot. They're all interlinked. They cannot build the wall without each other's help. So that's how I build my puzzles and my talks and everything. So it's kind of like this cross here. It's got 4 bubbles with a tiny one in the middle. So that's kind of like a brick wall, isn't it? So yeah, you're literally building things on top of things on top of things, and you have to start with the truth and always carry on with the truth and link more truth to it. Otherwise, you will get drifted away. So walking the straight and narrow path is actually the first one to walk it is Mother Mary, and from her everything else can be connected together, and you can learn from her because she's already got it figured out. See, that's the thing. That's why she's queen, because she's got it figured out. So the graces were piety, salvation, trust, conversion, and health for those who are just listening to the talk instead of watching the picture. So yeah, you can literally think of one of these a day, or even research based on a keyword. You know, you can go on Google, talk to me about piety, talk to me about salvation, talk to me about trust, and you can read so many things. You don't have to buy people's books. You can just surf the internet on a topic, and you will still learn something new every day. Anyway, that's it for today. Much more to come, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.